name is Colley Bailey, and I'm a realtor here in Fayetteville, Arkansas with Fathom Realty, and I'm here to provide you with your premium real estate experience. So let's talk about the most important tool in selling your home: pricing. How are we going to decide on a list price that still nets you top dollar but is also attractive to buyers? Well, there's a statistic that gets thrown around a lot, and I want you to see it. It is that, on average, homes that sell for 96 to 97% of list price. Now, does that mean that we can just list it at any price we want and only expect to lose 3% in negotiations? Well, let's examine that. There is a strategy called the price it high, come down later strategy. It seems like a good strategy because it leaves lots of room for negotiation, allows multiple price drops to entice buyers, and theoretically, it allows the seller to test the market to find the highest price that the market will bear. However, this often fails and works against the best interests of the seller for a lot of reasons, but here are the main three that I can think of. First of all, traffic. You never get a second chance at a first impression. Since we've been able to track traffic on the internet, one of the interesting things that we've found is that every listing is most active during the first 2 weeks that it hits the market, and then the activity dramatically drops off. Even subsequent price drops don't bring that kind of traffic back to the property. So we don't want to waste that opportunity. We want to make sure that pricing, presentation, and promotion are all dialed in and perfect as soon as we hit the market so we can capitalize on that traffic. Secondly, WWTH. If a property sits on the market for too long, buyers will start to wonder, what's wrong with that house? Obviously, a lot of other buyers have looked at it and passed on it. They think there's probably a reason for that. This always results in fewer and fewer showings and limited opportunity to get it sold. The reality is, the longer it sits, the less likely it is to sell. Additionally, when buyers look at properties that they feel are overpriced, they are overly critical. They nitpick and they look for problems to keep themselves from falling in love with the house because they don't want to pay that much for it. Thirdly, let me address price drops. Price drops can make a seller look desperate and invite lowball offers. If buyers notice a lot of price drops on a property, they will expect you to keep dropping, even past market value. This is why this strategy can be very dangerous. It costs a lot of time, and it also can cost you a lot of equity. So let's look back at our statistic, and I think the price it high, come down later strategy is missing the most important part of this statistic, and the most important part is homes that sell. That means there are a lot of homes that do not sell, and there are also homes that don't sell at market value or within a reasonable time frame. So let's rephrase that statistic to help us as home sellers decide on an attractive list price. So let's say homes that sell list for only 3% above the sale price. Make sense? Now, how do we know what the sale price is? Okay, so remember, the price is high, come down later strategy is usually done to test the market. Well, let me point out that if we look at comparable homes that are sold within the same neighborhood or geographic region within the last few months, we have a pretty good basis for comparison. In fact, those home sellers have already done the test for us. All we have to do is look at the results. And this is the purpose for a CMA, or a comparative market analysis, which I provide for free for all my potential home sellers. Now, of course, the main metric that's usually used in these valuations is average price per square foot. However, we need to be very careful when choosing our comparables so that we know we're making an apples to apples comparison. For instance, we don't want to cross major roadways. Two different sides of the same road could have very different market prices. Another big one would be one-story homes versus two-story homes. If you look at two houses that have the same square footage, but one's a two-story house and one's a one-story house, guess what? The two-story house has half the roof size and half the foundation, which were both major expenses in the construction. That means on average, multiple level homes should have lower square footage prices. Now, of course, we also need to be looking at things like 3-car garage versus 2-car garage, fireplace versus no fireplace, pools, decks, big backyards, extra acreage, things like that. Bottom line, we will find a price that we should expect the home to sell for. Now, I do recommend that if that market price, that sale price, is not beneficial for you as a seller, do not list your property. Don't list it with me, don't list it with anybody else, because the reality is the market will pull you toward that price. You don't want to get locked into negotiations that are not in your best interest. So what if it is a beneficial price? Awesome. So in that case, what we're gonna do is take that sale price, add 3%, and we've got a winning list price. So this strategy is designed to hit the market really hard right up front with an offer that cannot be ignored. We're taking the stance that we're being really upfront and honest with buyers so they don't have to fight us over price and they can just bring a great offer. There's not a lot of room for negotiation because we can all see that this is a marketable price, so let's just get this deal done. It facilitates speed and it also facilitates actually getting the price that we want because we've done the research to back it up. So in the worst case scenario, we come down a few percentage points but still get top dollar for the market. In the best case scenario, we actually make a little more. So how do we support that extra 3%? Well, that's where our premium presentation and premium promotion come in. We need to raise the value of the home, or at least the perceived value of the home, in the minds of our buyers. So in the next video, we'll be talking about the difference between value, perceived value, and price.